SkyFactory 3 is a complex mod pack where you start on an island in the sky, which consists of a tree and a single block of dirt. This is my first time playing this mod pack, so if you don't know anything about it, I'll be explaining everything that I do. And for those that have played it, I'm sorry, because this is definitely going to be in a really strange order that I play it. This is 100 Days of SkyFactory 3. Before the video begins, in the last video, over 99% of people who watched the video were not subscribed, so let's try and improve that by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Quick disclaimer, the timer in the top left of the video is always one day behind because it starts at day 0. Enjoy. Day 1. It began by spawning in and being given a load of items. One of these items was an achievement book. This would give me some instruction on how to start. The book told me to start by crafting a crook, which is made out of some sticks. With the crook, I broke some leaves to try and gather a silkworm. After I broke down the tree, I built a small platform for me to stand on so I wouldn't fall off. There's a useful mod installed, so you'd have to wait for trees to grow, and you'd twerk on trees for them to grow. I'm not sure why it is, but it's useful. The next thing I made was a barrel, and so I can put some saplings in and it would turn to dirt over time. After the dirt had transformed, I grabbed it and set up another tree. I then used the silkworm on the first tree and gathered the leaves that turned into string so I could craft a sieve. After a busy first day, I finally crafted a bed and hit the hay. Day 2. I carried on gathering saplings from the trees and recycling them in barrels to make dirt. When I had enough dirt, I put the dirt in the sieve to get stone pebbles, which I used to craft cobblestone. Next, I crafted a hammer and hammered the cobblestone to get gravel and then sieved that instead. I was worried about dying in this series and I didn't really want to, so I started setting up fences around the platform so I wouldn't die as easy. Day 3. I was still sieving at this point to try and get more cobblestone. I also realised that if I broke gravel, I would get flint. For some reason I forgot you could do this. The next thing I needed was a water supply, and if you have empty barrels when it rains, they fill up. I then did some investigating and found when you hammer cobblestone you get gravel, and when you hammer gravel you get sand. And then, when you hammer sand, you get dust. Dust is used to combine with water, and then you get clay. Clay is very useful. Day 4. It was still yet to rain, so I decided to get water another way. This way, you need an oak barrel, which is a special kind of barrel that you can put leaves in that will turn into water over time. An easy way of getting leaves is by making some flint shears and shearing it off a tree. At this point, I wanted to make a crucible so I could turn cobblestone into lava, however I needed 7 bone meal in order to craft it. You can get bone meal from sieving gravel. Day 5. I made the first few parts of porcelain today. To make the crucible, I still needed a lot more though. I also got unlucky and got 2 larger trees on the island, which normally takes ages to destroy. Day 6. It's quite a repetitive mod pack in certain areas, so I spent the full day trying to get more bone meal. I finally got enough porcelain at this point to craft the crucible, however before it can work it needs to be cooked in a furnace, so I set to work getting a furnace. Day 8. After 3 long days of hard work, I finally had the materials to set up the crucible. I put it in the furnace so it would start to cook. I grabbed some more cobblestone and put it in the crucible. It didn't seem to be working, plus the texture was broken, but I don't think that was affecting it. Day 9. I did some research and turns out it needs to be powered by a torch, which was luckily one of the items I spawned in with. After sorting it out, the texture was also fixed. As you can see, the amount of lava was increasing at the top, so it was working. I spent the rest of the day working on getting more dirt and water. This was so I could craft clay buckets so I could start moving the lava and water about. Day 10. I started making the lava generator. I made it out of wood, however I did replace it with cobble as soon as I could. My next plan was to try and set up a way of getting mob drops. I'm doing this because it's told me to do it in the book. So the dark room doesn't look amazing, but it will do for the moment. I don't need anything special. Day 11. I started by discovering that you can make wooden armour. I'm not sure why I did this, but it would just be cool to look at. And I look quite good in it. I then started work on getting dirt for another island. The book instructed to do this so animals would spawn, and then I could start a farm. I then crafted a really cool looking crook, which was 4 crooks in one. It was really quick at mining stuff, but it did make me think that I needed a new food supply. I couldn't just live on apples the entire time. I started work on making the path for the new island. By the end of the day, I got it to this point. I'd eventually fill it all with dirt so animals would start spawning. Day 12 was a long day spent farming trees for the animal enclosure soon to be built. I ended up making a lot of dirt, so a lot of animals would spawn. Day 13. I had enough dirt at this point, it was just a matter until the grass grows. I got grass seeds from sieving dirt. I finished the day by the island being invaded by zombies, which was not great, but I suppose I needed the drops. Day 14. Today I decided to make a stone barrel. This would be useful to gather in obsidian because otherwise I wouldn't be able to mine it without a diamond pickaxe. The next plan was to set up a tinker's furnace. If you don't know what a tinker's furnace is, it's basically a large furnace made of seared blocks, and it's called a multi-block. It is also more efficient than a normal furnace. I spent the full day hammering away and crafting grout from sand, clay and gravel. When putting this into a furnace, it gives you seared bricks, and you can craft the blocks needed to make the tinker's furnace. Day 15. Today was a day spent getting seared bricks for the furnace. It needed a lot, because it was a large thing. I also got another bucket of lava today, which was good. It would be used to power the furnace. I started construction on the furnace. I placed down a controller and an empty tank. Day 16. Today was renovating day. I was going to make everything look better by adding oak logs around the side of the island. Today, I also found there was animals on the island. And now there was a very smart looking rabbit. I'll call him Winston. Day 17. Today I got 2 loot bags, which was quite cool. I didn't get anything out of the common one. However, I did get obsidian trousers out of the uncommon one, which turns out to be quite good armour actually. At this point, I also made good progress in terms of building the furnace. I had the basic structure down, but it turns out you don't need a furnace controller, otherwise it doesn't work. Day 18. Today was cleaning day. I wanted to clean everything up so it looked nicer, and I also had more space on the island. I needed wood for this, so I headed to where the trees grow. I chopped some down and got back to it. Also, try not to fall in the furnace because you'll get blood into it. I mean, I don't know what it does, but I wouldn't recommend it. Day 19. I wanted to start expanding the furnace. I'd do it slowly over time. As well as this, I set up 2 more crucibles so the lava production would be more efficient. I also wanted to set up an automatic cobblestone generator, which is a block that will passively produce cobblestone over time for me. It wasn't particularly expensive, so I got to crafting it. Another thing the book told me to make was a watering can. I genuinely don't know what it's used for, but I made one. Day 20. Today I noticed there was a few more animals had spawned in, including a horse, as well as another sheep. I decided that now, since I could produce cobblestone over time, I wouldn't need the old generator, so I would replace it and make a farm instead. 21. Today I carried on with the farm. This would help cure my hunger, and I planted a wide variety of seeds, so I could potentially make a large farm of each one in the future. In the book, it told me to craft some essence seeds, and you get essence by killing mobs, so at some point I would try and get that as well. Day 22. At this point, I'd run out of apples from the trees, so I was in a serious food shortage. If you're wondering what I'm doing in the time I'm not showing, it's mainly just hammering stuff and sieving stuff. You're not really missing a lot. However, the first few potatoes had grown, so I had some food for the time being. I also did some crafting and started making more parts of the furnace. Day 23. I needed some more blocks to go with the large furnace I built. Because I now had a decent amount of ore, I could start crafting some tools with it, a little tool station and other blocks. I crafted some patterns which are basically templates for the better tools you're going to make. However, you do need casts, and casts are made out of aluminum, brass or gold, and that is hard to come by. So straight away, I set to gathering more materials and craft it into ore to put in the furnace. Day 24. Today I had enough materials to start crafting some basic tools such as a full iron pickaxe. To make these you need a tool rod, pickaxe head and binding. This sounds complex, but basically you just need a cast to pour the iron in from the furnace. It's quite simple. And yet again, I had more ore to add to the furnace. Day 25. The furnace was almost full again, so it was in need of an expansion. As well as this, I ended up crafting a mattock, which is a combination of an axe and a shovel in one. I also found something quite interesting, something called snad, which is 2 sand on top of each other in a crafting table. And I think it makes sugarcane grow faster, so it's worth a try. Day 26. I needed more animals, so I decided I was going to expand the park area. So I set to work getting more dirt. I also found another loot bag that had some black quartz in. It looked important, so I hid it in my chest. Day 27. So to get ingots out of the furnace, you need an ingot cast, which means you need an ingot in the first place. So I spent a while sieving and getting enough material to make an ingot. That's a lot of ingots. With my newfound riches, I decided to craft an iron hammer. This would make it easier so I could hammer stuff faster. Day 28. Today, I started by crafting an iron sieve, which means I can get different stuff, as well as increasing the chances of getting rarer stuff. This also allows me to sieve compressed blocks, which is 9 of each block, which actually can save me a lot of time. I also wanted to start setting up machines that would automate this process. Day 29. I needed somewhere for the machines to live, and the book advised it would be worth creating a second layer. So I decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It didn't look beautiful, but it was coming along well. Day 30. I carried on working on the downstairs and started crafting a few of the machines that I needed. I wanted to craft a sag mill that would automate the first hammering process that would turn cobblestone into gravel for me. However, I would need a way of powering it, so I also needed a coal generator. The best way to get redstone at this point was by sieving dust, which, as I said later, you get by hammering sand. Day 31. I was still trying to get redstone at this point, and I finally did end up getting some. Whilst doing this, I was getting ore for the furnace, because the sag mill needed a lot. As well as this, I got my first diamond, which is only a 1% drop, which is actually very good. And yet again, I still needed to expand the furnace. Day 32. It started by crafting a new hammer, because the last one broke from hammering too much. I also crafted some more grout so I could make the furnace bigger, as I talked about yesterday. As well as this, I got another diamond, but I'm not sure when I did. But, I mean, that's obviously a good thing. Day 33. Finally, the furnace was a lot taller so I could fit a lot more ore inside. As well as this, I started sieving, but hopefully this was for the last time in a while. I only needed a copper ingot, and then I should be able to craft the sag mill. Finally, I got it. However, I didn't want to put it in the furnace because it had combined with aluminium to make aluminium brass. Day 34. Due to all the sieving, the furnace was full again. I know, I literally just expanded it yesterday. But I wasn't getting any more ore for the moment, so I wasn't too bothered. At this point, I could finally craft the sag mill that I'd been talking about for so long. But I wasn't sure how to power it, but I'd just find a way. Turns out you just need to put it next to a coal generator. Day 35. At this point, I felt the mob spawner was quite behind compared to the rest of the island. I knew there's a block called a mob spawner. I'm guessing that would work as a normal spawner would in vanilla Minecraft. However, it did seem very expensive to craft. So, maybe a future project. Day 36 and 37. You might be wondering where the recording is. Yeah, I kind of forgot to press record. But I literally spent the entire day just trying to get more dirt. So you didn't really miss a lot. Day 38. This is what I've been doing in the past few days. My plan was to set up an automatic farm. For this, I would need a block called a farmer, which would hopefully do it all for me. So I think it's now a tradition for a cow to be killed by a tree on this channel. So, here's the one for this episode. I'm sorry, man. My plan at this point was to try and set up all the machines to be automatic. It was going to get complex, however it would be really beneficial if I could get it all to do it automatically. The plan was for it all to be hammered down into dust, and then it would be sieved by the auto sieve to turn into redstone. And I finally got a chicken on the island, which is what I wanted because you can then set up a pen for them, but I'm not sure how to do it. Day 39. I crafted the pen, but I didn't really know how to do it or how to get them in, so I just hoped they might walk in. The rest of the day was spent doing really boring tasks, such as sorting out the farm and sieving gravel. Day 40. Today started by making a load of grout so I could expand the furnace by making seared bricks. I spent the rest of the day trying to work out how to build a farmer. It needed some weird crystals. You could get these by building another machine, which would turn iron into the stars. The machine was called an atomic Reconstructor, which needed a lot of redstone to craft, so yet again, I was having to start sieving. I also wanted to craft a good hammer, so I wouldn't have to spend ages doing the hammering. Day 41. I realised that if I wanted to make a good hammer, I'd have to have obsidian parts. This would take a long time to get, but it would be worth it in the long run. I still needed a lot of materials though, especially redstone, so I set to hammering gravel again. Day 42. I compressed some sand to start sieving. I ended up getting 14 redstone, which was not bad. I ended up crafting the machine. It made weird noises and sent lasers. I needed to do some research. Day 43. I'd done some research and finally found out how to use it. So you have to use a redstone torch to activate it, and then if you throw items in front of it, it'll turn it into a different item. Now I had that sorted, I started working on crafting the farmer. I didn't have enough wires at this point, so it wasn't powered, however it was set up. The next thing I wanted to make was an alloy furnace so I could make some conductive iron. This would be used so I can make the wires. Day 44. I was working on making the alloy furnace today. I needed some copper ingots, so I spent a while gathering copper. I eventually got enough and crafted the alloy furnace. I did a bit of experimenting. Didn't really know what I was doing, so yet again, I had to do some research. Day 45. Today, I wanted to set up an auto sieve. This would be very useful because then I wouldn't have to sieve myself. It'd save a lot of time. Day 46. Before the auto sieve is fully set up, I still needed to get some more materials, so yet again, I was sieving. Day 47. It started by crafting some wire so I can power the new blocks. As well as this, I expanded into the floor a bit for a bit more room. It was coming along well. It was only temporary, so it doesn't really matter if it looks ugly. Day 48. I wanted to try and set up some solar panels so I didn't have to keep gathering coal. They are quite expensive, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to set them up. I still need a lot of wires to set up the farmer, but the sieve was collecting a lot of materials, so hopefully it wouldn't be long. Day 49. I started crafting some more conductive iron for wires, and finally had enough to reach the farmer. So the farmer should work on this 9x9 grid, so next time I come around, I want to see a full stack of wheat. Only kidding, I don't know how fast it'll be. I also found this really weird looking multi-tool. It looks epic though. So maybe I'll try and get it in the future. Day 50. To celebrate the halfway point, I decided to make some new armour. It was full obsidian. It looked really nice. As a little break, I decided to sort the farm out. However, I did spot this rapier. Rapier? Rapier, I don't know how you say it. It has a really cool ability, and it would go well with my obsidian armour. I'd make it an obsidian blade. Before bed, I did a bit of wiring downstairs. Day 51. The furnace was in need of an upgrade again. Downstairs was looking really epic at the moment, however it still needed some upgrades before it was fully automatic. However, the best thing about today was I finally finished the epic sword. It had this really cool feature that you could leap. So if you jump at the same time as you leap, you jump like 8 blocks, which is really cool. Day 52. I was going to start expanding the park again. I wanted a full scale zoo with all the animals in the game. And this is an example why the sword is quite useful, so you don't have to break fences, you can just jump over them. This is something you can't do in normal Minecraft. Day 53. Today I was still gathering dirt for the park expansion. The reason I was going to do this is I wanted chickens. I still needed feathers for an angel block I talked about ages ago. Day 54. It looks really good in here now. I added some bone meal to get some flowers and grass, just to add to the environment. At this point I needed a supply of string, so I quickly silkwormed a tree in order to get some. I had to say goodbye to some of the animals because I thought there might be a mob cap. This might be causing no chickens to spawn. Sorry guys. Day 55. Today I started by crafting the second sag mill. I didn't realise that if I put gravel into it, it just turned into silicon. So I decided to just increase the production of gravel instead of not using it. I was thinking about making an auto hammer. This sounded like it would do the right thing. Day 56. The first thing I did was set up a crusher. This would make it so I'm able to produce steel, which is what you need to make an auto hammer. At this point I was really in need of a new source of power. I wasn't sure what to do. The book suggested a big reactor, but that seemed really expensive and really over the top for the few machines I had. So I decided that I would just set up another coal generator. Day 57. I finally got another chicken today, so I could breed them and try and get some feathers from the ones I could kill. I also decided today to finally upgrade the mob farm. It was in need of a desperate upgrade. It was really far behind compared to the rest of the island. Day 58. I was still working on improving the look of the mob spawner island. I also took the time to improve the path by adding cobblestone down the middle. My plan was to make a spawner. I'm pretty sure this was very similar to the ones in vanilla Minecraft. However, it was very expensive to build, and it also needed a few more machines to be able to craft it. Day 59. In order to make better tools, I needed to craft something called a CurseForge, which is made out of 4 blocks of any ingots. I decided to go with lead because I didn't know what it was used for that much. I also had a lot of it. I then moved a coal generator next to the farmer for the moment, so I wouldn't have to use direct wires to be able to power it. To make the new hammer, I needed a ton of obsidian. It would take a long time to get. Day 60. I worked all morning gathering obsidian to try and craft the hammer. It's a little awkward that I made this really cool looking hammer and turns out it doesn't work how I want it to work. Because it's the wrong mod pack. I probably should have noticed this. Looks like I'm going to have to do this massive sand pile manually. Oh, and I also expanded the furnace again. Day 61. Today I crafted another generator so I'll be able to power everything at once. I was planning on finally using my diamonds to craft a diamond mesh, which creates more opportunities to get new things. I also quickly made a to-do list. They were ambitious things. I didn't know if I was actually going to complete any. Day 62. I should have thought at this point if you could actually go to the nether, because it seems a bit easy if it was just the normal nether. I also crafted an auto hammer today, and started adjusting the machines to try and fit it in. Day 63. It was taking me a while to adjust the machines. I had to make sure they fed into each other, and was working all properly. Day 64. Today, I finally had the redstone machine working. It looks very satisfying. As well as this, I also expanded storage on the island. I was running a bit low. As well as this, I started making the nether portal. I still need a bit more obsidian, so it'd probably finish tomorrow. Day 65. The first thing I did was complete the nether portal. I'm actually unsure what you can get from the nether, but it didn't seem like a lot. I'd have to research at some point, but at the moment it seems useless. To be able to craft the spawner, I needed something called ancient spores, which was a key step into being able to make it. With the ancient spores, you right click it on some dirt and it turns into mycelium. Day 66. If you place water-filled barrels near the mycelium, it will slowly turn into witch water, which is what you need to craft soul sand. I also noticed that mushrooms have been spawning. This is a good thing, I guess. I mean, I don't know what to use them for. After the witch water had been formed, I added sand to the contraption, and then it turned into soul sand. Day 67. My main objective at this point was to try and get ender pearls. This was one of the next things I needed to get for the mob spawner. I was improving the look of the path, when I realised I hadn't seen Winston in a while. I went to go visit him. He was doing well. I also had a bit of an accident trying to fight a zombie today. It didn't go well. I ended up getting my stuff back though because it spawned as a grave in this mod pack. Day 68. I spent the full day trying to make the mob spawner safer because of what happened yesterday. Day 69. I knew that endermen normally spawn in the nether, so I decided to make a massive platform to them try and spawn. It didn't end up working though, which was unfortunate. I had a close call with death when a ghast shot me off the edge. Luckily a cloud caught me and returned me to safety. Day Day 70. Today, I tweaked some of the machines to try and produce more diamonds rather than redstone. This means I was only sieving gravel rather than sand now. I also made an angel block today, which made me excited, but it didn't end up working, it just let you place it in the sky. I don't know how, but I thought it might let you fly. I had a new plan to try and encounter Enderman. I was going to make a platform like I did in the Nether, but underneath the main island. Day 71. I made the platform underneath the main island. At this point, it was just a waiting game for stuff to spawn. Whilst I waited, I started chopping some trees down. I'm not sure why, just needed the wood. I had a really fun experience with some small zombies. It's, not broken. Day 72. Today was renovation day again. I wanted to move everything so it was more organised. It was looking good by the night time. Everything was a lot more spacious, and a lot more moved to room about. What? That's not the right one. Day 73. Today I bred the chickens that spawned, as well as the other mobs. I had a short encounter with a mini zombie with an axe. It one-shot me without armour on, so I died about 6 times. I also got dropped a dice. I don't know what it does, but when I placed it down and destroyed it, it took me to half a heart. So I won't do that again. Day 74. I got some more loot bags while hunting for Enderman. I decided to open them. I didn't end up getting much good, which is unfortunate. I decided that I'd refurbish the main island today. I replaced the centre blocks with cobblestone to make it have more of a pattern and look like it was part of a road. Day 75. I finally got an ender pearl today, however I did need 2 for the spawner. I also decided to make a dark oak tree from the seeds I got from Sieve in dirt. I'm not sure how I got this god apple, I just found it. I mean, I'm not complaining. It did just appear though. Day 76. I got yet another ender pearl today so I can start crafting the spawner. I spent a long time crafting the parts of the spawner. Day 77. Today I finally crafted the spawner. I went to try and set it up. I didn't really know how it works, but I think it needs a source of power. So I went to go sort it out. I went to visit the Nether today, see if there was any Enderman. There wasn't, but my portal got broke by a creeper. Luckily, since I'm such a big brain, I got a gas to relight it for me. Day 78. I got another loot bag today. I got some cake from it, which was quite cool. I wasn't sure what to do with the spawner yet, so I returned it to normal. I also replaced a small farm with a large sugarcane farm. I'm not sure why, I just thought it would be nicer. Day 79. At this point, I wanted to try and improve my tools because I was really lacking in that department. I wanted to try and get netherrack because if I sieve it, I get special ore, which makes a very good tools. To get it, you need to combine redstone and lava in a barrel. Day 80. I'm going to try and make a dedicated animal pen for each animal. I needed a lot of dirt for this, so I started gathering saplings so I could recycle them to turn into dirt. I also started making the paths out of dark oak, which I farmed quite a while ago. It looks quite nice. Day 81. I've set up the pens now, as well as all the fences. I got the cows moved in, and they started breeding. Day 82. I started working on the new pen for the sheep, but the sheep are so dumb they can't even get through the doors. I finally got them in, and then they started breeding as well. My next plan is to start progressing through the book again. Day 83. I was going to make an easier access to the mob layer, so I set up a staircase that leads down to it. It had a cool little feature that where if you fall down, you land into water, so it's an easy way to get down. Day 84. There's a really cool mod pack installed called Open Computers, where you can make a working PC in the game. I wanted to try and set one up. You need a lot of components to try and set one up, so I started a small cactus farm. And I mean small, it was literally one cactus. I then crafted a chair to go on my new keyboard and set up a desk. Day 85. I was working on crafting the monitor, which I eventually set up. As well as this, I smelted some cactus to make the PCBs, which is a key part of almost everything you would need to make. I crafted a CPU and some memory, and by the end of the day, I plugged them into the machine. Day 86. I got to crafting more components including a hard drive and a graphics card. I needed a way of powering it, so I moved one of the spare coal generators and powered it through the wires. I also crafted an analyzer to try and find out why it wasn't booting. Day 87. I made the operating system, and yet it still wasn't working. I also had a scary encounter with an Enderman, which didn't scare me, because I'm a big boy. I also needed a special type of operating system called EEPROM, and to craft it, I needed a lot of redstone. Day 88. I was still working on it, and finally got it working after a few hard days of work. I genuinely had no idea what I could do on it, but it ran, and it was working, and it looked really cool. Day 89. I wanted to carry on with my dream of making tools from the netherrack. The odds of getting the ore was incredibly low, so I wouldn't be able to do it with the time left in the video, but I felt like I might try and just get one ingot, just to see what it would feel like. I reset up the redstone machine to try and churn out redstone again. Day 90. Today, I actually wanted to try and fix the chicken setup. I think you might have to have a golden lasso, which is what I was doing wrong last time. This is where you can pick up an animal and put it in your inventory. I also bred some of the animals, so I could expand my zoo. Day 91. I tried everything to get the chickens in the pen. And eventually, There we go. He's in right. Oh, never mind. Turns out you then need a net, which you can then put the chickens in manually. Day 92. Today started by turning part of the wheat farm into an inferium farm. I also wanted to make a bunch of cakes to celebrate the final day, and in this mod pack you make a bunch of cool ones. I wanted to make the red velvet cake, because I felt like I could eat them all day long. And after genuinely 10 minutes of trying to gather all the materials, I finally had enough to craft them. Day 93. I wanted to try and set up a bakery, because this would be a really cool addition to the island, I felt. It would also be a cool place to store all the cakes that I craft. I met a skeleton, who was very determined, but wasn't quite good enough. Never give up on your dreams, guys, even though this guy will never hit me. Day 94. The bakery's been complete now, and it looked really nice. I also made a cheesecake to add to the collection. Day 95. I spent the full day trying to get materials to craft this cake. It didn't seem that complex, but I needed about 6 different types of dye, which takes a while to get. Day 96. Before the end of the episode, I wanted to make everything look nicer, as well as make a dedicated house to sleep in, since at the moment I'm just sleeping in the middle of nowhere. I was farming some wood, and I ended up making a large tree. I really couldn't be bothered to mine it, so now it's a centrepiece of the island. I built a platform for the new house. Day 97, and for the final time, I did some sieving. Some people say that computers are smarter than humans, and the computer does tell you to subscribe. Now, you can't really argue with that. Day 98. Today, I started construction on the house. I made it out of birch, so it'd be somewhat different. I actually really liked the design. It was really snug, and in the edge of the island. Day 99. I wanted to figure out a way to do some fireworks. I wasn't sure how, there was probably a way to do it in mod pack. I crafted something called a firework box, and it actually worked really well, so I crafted a few more. I also set up a little place to watch the fireworks show. Day 100, the final day. It began by going to invade the bakery by eating all the cakes I made. I was full, but I'd come back later on. I went to visit Winston and his friends, and they seemed to be doing well. Someone came to my island to say goodbye. He seemed friendly, so I told him his trousers were ripped. Next, I went to see the computer, and I still don't know what I'm doing. A chicken had moved into my new house, so I guess he owns the place now. Then, I quickly lit all the fireworks and ran to my seat to enjoy the view. Thank you all for watching this video, and I massively appreciate if you were to subscribe. I'm working on more videos straight away, and check out my Twitch on screen and in the description. Thanks for watching. Put turtle in the comments if you reached till this far in the video.